Okay. This morning, I'm going to say, let's do this exercise together. Fellow Nigerians watching, pick up a calculator, wherever you might be this morning, and calculate this. 87 plus 26. 87 trillion, the debt we have on ground, plus 26, the debt that is proposed that will borrow in the mid-term expenditure framework. 26 trillion plus 7 trillion. That'll give you about 113 trillion. That's where we're still going with the borrowing. Let me also shock you. In the last 21 years, our debt profile increased by over 600%. I'll read a very exciting thing to you this morning. It might shock you. There is a news article from 31st of July 2021 in the Cable. It says, from Obasanjo to Buhari, our federal government's debt profile surged 685% to 26.9 trillion in 21 years. I'm sure if you remember, at some point we had our debt forgiven, largely by the Paris Club. When President Jonathan was leaving power, the debt stock was about 12 billion in dollar terms. Today it surged to over 50 billion in dollar terms. That's the kind of country we've built. But in all of this, ask, what did President Buhari do with all the money he borrowed? I'm sure they'll probably show you a rail line. Ibadan to Lagos rail line with all of its challenges, and the train stopping in the middle of the road because of no diesel. Kaduna rail line that we couldn't put in security infrastructure and people were kidnapped and a doctor died and many other people died. I'm sure they'll show you rail lines. What else? They'll say roads, Lagos Ibadan Expressway. Yeah. What else? They'll show you other infrastructure projects. How does this affect the people? What have we done with all the money we've borrowed? We've squandered riches. We've printed more money, we've borrowed, we've increased the debt stock at the detriment of Nigerian people. And that's why we're asking more questions from President Tinubu. What are you going to do with this money you want to borrow now? Yeah, you might claim it's been approved before. What are you going to do with it? Because the supplementary budget the other time was to buy luxury cars and a couple of other things. Don't we feel sad that a position like the wife of the president, we're buying luxury cars for her, is not stated in the Constitution? Why do you need to do it? The president's wife said, oh, we are not coming here because we need your money. We're already rich before we came in here in the first place. They could have afforded their cars. Then we talked about the yachts. Then we all saw what happened. Now we're passing another loan. Is it after the state governors are spending billions of naira on frivolous activities and incurring more debt to the future generation yet unborn? Please humor me. If all these loans we take, if we can see the direct knock-on investment on Nigerians, I will be the first one to say, borrow more. We're seeing what you're doing with the money. But we're spending it on frivolities. And we forget we have to pay back this money someday. And because of the law, we're having a knock-on effect on inflation. Most of the money we printed in ways and means. But remember the inflationary pressures all of that brought, we've not settled all of that. So now, even if we call for debt forgiveness, no nation will take us seriously. Because when they forgave us our Paris Club debt, before you know it, we borrowed all over again. And we're squandering our riches. We're not making enough revenue. We're incurring more debts. The budget, 27 trillion. The revenue projection, and it doesn't mean you are hitting that revenue. It doesn't mean you have, it's just a projection. You can fall far low. Budget performance is about the 50-60% percentile. But what are we doing with the money? Nothing. We just squander it. And what we hear down the line are cases of corruption. Please, the National Assembly should save Nigeria. I know they say the National Assembly is rubber stamp. Scratch that. The National Assembly is copy and paste of the executive. It's obvious that anything the executive says, they just copy and they paste it. But at least, if it is the will of the Nigerian people that put you there, investigate and ask questions. But how will you ask questions in the National Assembly? You remember they approved the 160 million for your SUVs, isn't it? How would you ask questions? Because you're also in there as complicit while the people bleed. Have a conscience.
Here is my final word tonight. Mr. President, Senator Bola Tinubu, it is to you tonight that I bring the burden and plight of our people too. I trust this message finds you in good health and high spirits as you continue to navigate the intricate responsibilities that come with the esteemed position you hold. It is with a heavy heart and deep concern that I pass this message on the current state of our beloved nation, Nigeria. In a time when the heartbeat of our nation is racing with fear and the very fabric of our society is tearing at the seams, we stand at a crossroads. President Tinubu, the nation calls for your undivided attention as you embark on a private visit to France. Our beloved Nigeria is grappling with unprecedented challenges that demand urgent and decisive action. Kidnapping and abductions are the order of the day. From Lagos to Kaduna, Taraba, and violent and criminal activities have pervaded our land. Even in the heart of our nation's capital, the audacity of kidnappers has become a sinister reality, striking fear into the hearts of our people. Our citizens are living in constant fear, unsure of their safety and the safety of their loved ones. This is not the Nigeria we dreamed of, not the renewed hope that was promised. We applaud the gallantry of our security operatives, but indeed, more work still needs to be done to keep the people safe. Efforts are being made, but it appears they are not far enough. What has become the strategies of state policing and community policing that's been talked about several years? And the huge white papers and advisory notes on how to tackle insecurity in Nigeria, where are they? President Tinubu, as a pro-democracy agitator, isn't it the right time to restructure Nigeria for it to work properly? Is the Nigeria you and your friends fought for, is it the Nigeria that you're talking about? The removal of subsidies has unleashed a tidal wave of economic downturn, leaving families struggling to make ends meet. Prices of commodities have gone through the roof. The biting effects are felt across the nation, and the loss of confidence in the government is palpable. This is not a time for complacency. It is a time for bold, unwavering leadership. Mr. President, I think it is about time to get the nation's eggheads in one room and find a lasting cure to our ailing economy. As you stand on foreign soil, Mr. President, remember the weight of your responsibility to the Nigerian people. Our citizens, including those who voted for you, are losing faith in the government. The implications of the loss of confidence are far-reaching. And as a leader, you cannot afford to look away. Investors are fleeing the nation like never before. Economic potential of Nigeria is being squandered, and the consequences will be felt for generations. We urge you, Mr. President, to take immediate measures to create an environment that attracts and retains investment. The clock is ticking, and our economic future is at stake. Mr. President, the time to act is now. Swift and decisive measures are needed to curb the escalating insecurity, alleviate the economic burden on citizens, and restore the confidence in the government. This is not only a call to fulfill campaign promises, but a plea for the preservation of our great nation. Mr. President, our regional leadership is hanging in the balance. Some members of ECOWAS are signaling exit, and Nigeria's influence is under threat. It is time to reassert your leadership, strengthen diplomatic ties, and secure our place in the Committee of Nations. As journalists, we will not shy away from probing, inspiring, and holding leaders accountable. President Tinubu, live up to the expectations of your calling and the mandate upon which your office stands. The Nigerian people deserve more. They deserve a leader who acts with urgency, integrity, and unwavering commitment to the well-being of our great nation. The challenges may be daunting, but if you are resolute and carry the people along, we can all together overcome. The giant of Africa must now rise and take his rightful place in the Committee of Nations and harness its potentials for the Nigerian people to smile again. God bless this Federal Republic of Nigeria. And this is my final word.